Okay. All right, so price can potentially come and take out this liquidity here. So this is the current target. So at the same time, we're saying they might pull back into this area, or they can just run away with the bag. So we want to see if we cannot have one position at the moment. Okay, let's check H2. Okay, I don't know. What do you guys think? I still feel I'll be more comfortable waiting for price to retrace. So if you notice, I also had this sell limits here, which is one right here and one right here. So I feel like those sell limits are still active. If you check on the Telegram group, on the other screenshot I sent, the sell limits are there. So you can just copy those onto your charts if you have the same view. So going back to H1, you can see we also have this order block here, right? That order block is within this zone and this zone. So this is a high probability area for sales. This zone here from 34.25 all the way to about 34.55. I would say for me, that's my point of interest for sales. So I would love to see price retrace back into this area and give us a nameable candle for us to actually execute a sell. Then we will be targeting yesterday's lows or yesterday's open price. Then if we do break, then we look for a possible retracement for a continuation down. Same applies here. If we break right now and we are bouncing off this, I think we can still safely sell from here and target this area. Then maybe after that, they might retrace, then push down. So we'll just be seeing how they act, especially on current market price. We want to see how they act around the area they're at right now. So going back to M15, let's see. So M15, if we do get that retracement back into this area, I would also love to see TVI giving us something either on the baseline bounce or on the 50 level here. If we get that confirmation, then we should actually sell and hold it all the way down here. Yeah, so 50 to 100 pips is possible. We just have to keep an eye on it. So that's it for C5. So going to C1, C1 literally moved. I think we had this last night from yesterday's trades. It initially took us out as well. Then it dropped. I was anticipating for it to come back here. That's why last night I closed all trades here. I was anticipating a reversal into this area, but that reversal didn't come. Also anticipated the reversal here and a reversal here. So you can see all those three areas price never retraced. It was just momentum. And they broke the current low, retested it. They broke the next low, which was this one, and retested it. So this retest, you can be able to see them if you're on a smaller time frame like M15 or M5. Right, so it's just been a whole lot of momentum here, a missed move, so if I would say. So today, what I'm anticipating here, since this move is too big, potentially price can pull back to any of these areas. So the first one would be this area on this order block here. Second one would be this order block here, which is also in line with this zone. So those are my 2 points of interest for today. And these are order blocks on the H1. So if you open your H1, you can just mark those order blocks. Then let's wait and see how price acts on those zones. Okay, let's see. Those 2MA. Okay, the moving averages I'm using on my charts are the BTMM moving averages. So I've got, let me actually type it properly. Okay, so I've got the 13 exponential moving average. So that's the EMA. 13 EMA, that's the red one. Then I've got the 50 EMA, also exponential moving average. That's the aqua one or the blue one. Then I've got the 200 EMA. If your charts are white, then that 200 EMA can be black. If your charts are black, the 200 EMA can be white. So on my chart, it's black. Then I also have the 800 EMA, which is navy. You will see it when you go to other time frames. So these are my time frames. So your 13 EMA is just your immediate trend. Your immediate trend right there, you can see is down. Your 50 EMA is what I would call the intraday trend. For example, if I'm to come to my charts today and I see that I'm trading below the 50, basically I'm in a downtrend intraday. Right? If we come to the charts like yesterday here, we were going sideways, so there was no trend that was ranging until we broke this zone here. Right, then it became a downtrend. If you're trading above the 50 EMA, it's an uptrend. That's like on H1 or maybe M30 and M15. That's your intraday trend, like your trend for that particular day. That's how I use my 50 EMA. And I also love to see patterns form on the 50 EMA. For example, if price comes and gives me an M like this on a 50 EMA, I know it's a high probability trade. Same applies to the 200 EMA. If price comes, gives me a pattern on the 200 EMA, I'll take that as a trade as well. So that's how I use the EMAs. But maybe one of these days I'll get into more depth on the EMAs. So let's just continue the analysis. So these are my two zones with C1. C300 yesterday didn't give me anything clear. Remember, we were waiting for it to give us something on the daily. We were waiting for the consolidation to end. Right, with this consolidation here for 4 days. Then yesterday was the first day we had a huge momentum day. So today, two things can happen. This can be price actually pushing up. So if we close with a solid green today, then this price will continue to push up. But if we get any reactions on any zones there, which I'll show just now, if we get any reactions here and we end up closing red, then I'm also anticipating the next day to potentially be red. Just looking to the left to see where price can potentially reach to. So for now, what I would say I'm looking for is any reaction on the smaller time frames, because we've got some zones in there. You can see first zone I have is almost on the equal highs, this red line. Then I've got zone somewhere in there, maybe I think on H1 or M15, which is this gray zone here. Then I've got a minor zone here, which is where price is at the moment. So if we can get a reaction here, I'll definitely love to sell, but I won't sell until I come below the 50 EMA. That's why you see there's also a gray zone here, which needs to be broken first before I consider any sells. So that's my current view on C5 for the day. If we drop down to H1, you can see H1 we are now above the 50 EMA, right? So we are bullish. Intraday we are bullish. From the open price, we created a higher high, a higher low, creating a higher high. So we might actually maybe try to catch a sell here, be it a retracement to this up move or an actual reversal, which will see price continue to push down. So either way, if we can get a pattern around here, this is where my zone is coming from. It's this order block here. So I just use this lower part. So if we can get a pattern here or a nameable candle rejecting that zone, then we can still look for a short-term sell as a retracement to this intraday up move, or we can wait to just see if they want to come down and maybe take it from below this area. And again, they can extend to these highs. So if we get a pattern on this area, same thing applies. Either an M, a head and shoulder, any familiar pattern, then we'll be able to take that sell either as a reversal or as a retracement. So that one I'll update in the group. As the day goes, I'll update because I'll be talking on this one. C5, we spoke about it. We said it's best we wait for price to retrace into any of these areas here. Once we get a retracement, then we're going to take the trade. Then B1000. Okay, yesterday we wanted to take buys at the break of this red line. That's what happened here. Although it retraced a bit, but I think some of you caught it. So there was 50 pips there. So price is going sideways for now. We are going sideways. So let me see how I would actually approach this one. So I'm just extending this low range, the lows of this range, and I'm extending the highs of this range. Okay, so we've got a range. I would only consider buys if I can come into this area. Yeah, I might consider buys. Let's see. I've got today's lows here. So also if price comes and retests on today's lows, sometimes they might just use this volume here for the buys. They won't come to this area. So I'm paying attention to that area, and maybe if we can have a trend line here, we might trade a breakout and a retest. I'm sure we'll be able to catch some pips. So let me see if we go to M15. We put a small trend line there. Then we also put a zone here, this high here. So for price to actually go up, they have to break this last high, because intraday would say we opened here, right? Created a high, came, took out this liquidity, came up into this zone, which we've been rejecting for quite some time. Then we came down, we didn't take out this low, so we are not in a downtrend. We didn't take out this high, so we're not in an uptrend. The market is just ranging. So this one, we just have to be careful about it, but I would consider buys here. And I would also consider buys around this area here. So this is M15. You can just put your zone on the low of today and on this last high here, right there. Then we just have to wait and see what price will do. So that's it for B1. Nothing too complicated. I don't have anything long term, just because price has been in a range. So we'll just continue within that range until they break out either way. That's when we'll give a further update. B5, yesterday we were stalking it for possible buys. So you can see I was waiting for them to give me something solid above this zone. Although they closed above, I wasn't too sure they were going up, because with some momentum coming down, and I saw this as a rejection here. So you can see they eventually came down. So yesterday we didn't have anything on B5. Today though, we might have something. We might have something right now, because what if you notice, we've got this peak, right? Price broke a structure. Now they've retested coming into the area. So let's see what we have on H4. Looks like a sharp trade. H1. Okay, I think there's nothing wrong with having one runner here. One runner at current market price. Then, okay, they just spiked off that area. So we have that one runner. Then we wait for price to come into this order block here. You can see as it was pushing up here, breaking this area here, they left a zone here. So either they will react off this top, leave the pending orders hanging here, or they'll actually still drop into this area and maybe form a pattern before pushing up. At the same time, we want to see how they react with today's highs right here, because this looks like it's a zone, right? So price might actually just hit here, then continue down. So keep that in mind. But if we see momentum, it will mean price is coming all the way to yesterday's highs, or anyway in this zone. That's where price will be heading. So we want to keep an eye on it. If they do come into this order block, we're definitely adding trades here. So for now, we just have that one runner. Let me also just, okay, and on TDI, you might be asking, how do you use TDI to confirm? So TDI, the first thing we have on this peak here, TDI gave us this, right? Then on this equal low, they gave us a baseline bounce, another baseline bounce, right? So that's a pattern forming. That's how a pattern forms. Then we get a break of structure, price leaves an order block and fair value gap. So we are leaning intraday, we are leaning on buys because we've been pushing up, right? So we anticipate it to push up and until a structure gets broken and price starts to come down. So I would say let's hold on to that runner. Let's see if they will push into the order block. Let me just check on my phone quickly. This is also an example of an ID50. If it does play out, that will be a perfect ID50. So we're coming from a peak. 13 EMA crosses the 50, first signal of an uptrend. Then price retests the 50. That's your intraday 50. It's just a retracement setup whereby price will be continuing to push up. Okay, we left with about 10 minutes, so let me quickly round up. Okay, so that's it for me on B5. Let me quickly check the daily. Let's see what we have there. Okay, we just, yeah, so like I said, it might be a short-term buy because price might still want to come down. So we just have to keep an eye on how price is acting. But if they do come above here, we might see a continuation of buys, especially if TDI gives us a bounce off this 50 level here, then the uptrend will definitely continue. And we will add more buys onto the current runner we have. J10 has been sort of sideways. Let's see. Okay, let's look at the daily. Okay, what I think about J10 is they can potentially, remember these zones, we marked them from yesterday, saying price can come into any of these zones before dropping down to the weekly trend line which we have. So I feel we can still push up. Okay, there's the weekly trend line there. So I feel we can still push up all the way to this zone here. Right, so we've been in an uptrend, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows. So until we break a certain low, we are not selling this one. Until we break a certain low and retest the zone, we're not selling it. So for now, I would say we're leaning on buys. We might come and bounce off today's lows, maybe. So today's lows are going to guide us in terms of selling or buying. So let me just fill this. Today's lows on J10. Going to move this. RSI 14 J10. Okay, on J10, I use. Okay, what value is this TDI? I think it's a 13. Yeah, it's a 13. It's advanced 13 RSI on my TDI. So that would be let let me grab a pen. Okay, I didn't quite understand there, but if you're asking about RSI, I use a TDI, so, and its values on 13. Weekly 39, good enter zone on J10. Is it for buys or is it for sells? The one you're talking about there, is it buy side? Okay, let's just go to the weekly then. Okay, so this is the way I'm looking at it, right? Price has been sort of respecting this trend line. If this is going to be an uptrend, price can potentially come to this zone. That has been my bias ever since we started the analysis. So I'll be happy to take sells, especially if I get a pattern, because I know where my weekly price range is going towards. But at the same time, you can see price is trading above the yellow baseline. So when we get here, we might get buys, or they might break the trend line, then we might get buys from here. But that will take time to happen. We'll see as price approaches. But for now, I would say I'm leaning on sells. Hence, I'm just leaning on the order blocks, which I have right here. As I drop down the time frames, I'm just looking for reasons to sell. TDI yellow baseline is now below the 50 here, and this is on the daily. So that gives me more reason to be bearish. Okay, so as long as I've got my bias, I just wait for a pattern here. So this high, there can be a stop hunt here. This is basically a stop hunt which will happen before price actually decides to potentially sell. Okay, so again, if they don't come on the top, then we can wait for price to break the zone, then take a sell. So that's my view on J10. So it's more of patience on that one. Then my last asset for the day is V250 You can see earlier I came to the charts and I marked today's highs. And I'm like, if this price wants to actually push down, because this is a head and shoulder pattern, right? If they want to push down, they will do a stop hunt above this area. And if I'm to sell it right now, I would wait for price to break this zone, this order block. This is basically an order block which was left before price created a peak, a current peak for today. So if they do this, then I would consider a sell. Then I'll also be looking for them to break this zone here, potentially retest it before pushing down. But if they bounce here, then they'll potentially keep pushing up. That's the intraday view here without even doing multi-time frame analysis. But if we come with it from the daily, yeah, daily can potentially push up. That's a possibility as well. Same as H4. Reason I'm saying that is because you can see we've got this zone here, which can potentially be retested. So that's where price would actually be heading right now. So be open to buy this, especially if they're showing that they're bouncing on that zone I showed you on M15, the breaker block. So two things will happen. Either they will come down to show that they want to sell, or they'll bounce off this area and actually continue pushing up. So this can also be a take profit target, which is on yesterday's highs. But if I don't have much momentum, I won't trade this one, because this one, it doesn't play. It's like B75. It can easily mess up with your capital. So more patience with that one. We're stalking J10, B500. We've got one runner, and we're going to have buy limits right on this order block. I'll send the values in the Telegram group just now. B1, we're waiting for them to break the trend line and possibly close above the zone, or come on today's lows before giving us a setup. C5, we're waiting for a retracement up into any of these zones. C300, we're waiting for them to get to the gray zone, then give us a nameable candle or a pattern for us to sell. C1, this one we missed. This is a miss for today, but we'll just wait for price to retrace. I don't know if there's any questions. We left with 2 minutes. If there's no questions, I'll upload this video on YouTube. Then I'll send the signals to the setups I shared in the Telegram group. I think I'll actually, yeah, just stoke on B5. B5 is our current setup. Soon as they break the trend line here, we're scaling in for a short-term trade. B300, I don't analyze it. Usually, I don't like to look at things which I don't trade. But I'll send you the view on my phone. I don't want to edit here on my watch list because it will just end up confusing me. So on B500, we're aiming for 20 pips, aiming for a 20 pip buy. So I'll give the values on Telegram, and that B300 analysis. I don't know. Yesterday, I think we spoke about it. How did it play yesterday? Was it a win for you or? But otherwise, I'll send you my view on Telegram just now on B300. But I do not trade it. I also don't trade step index. Whatever you don't see on the bottom here, I don't trade. I only trade these instruments which you see here. So I'll share the setup on Telegram just now. Then the signals will drop in the group. So let's catch up later, guys. I'll drop the setups in the Telegram group. Have a good day. Good trading.